Many know Jake Paul from his popular YouTube channel, but he's slowly been making a name for himself in the boxing world as of late. And as he continues to take on more serious opponents, he continues to make more money. And with that, many people are wondering how much has Jake Paul really earned from his boxing career? We'll cover it all, plus other boxing news, so stay tuned. How much has Jake Paul really earned from his boxing career? Back in 2018, Jake Paul surprised fans by announcing he would be taking part in an upcoming boxing match with his first opponent, fellow YouTuber Deji Olatunji. This fight was billed as the biggest amateur boxing match in history and raked in over 25 million views in its first few days of streaming. Many viewers were impressed by Jake's fighting ability, and after 5 rounds with Deji, he won the fight. It's been reported that Paul took home around $800,000 from that fight, which includes his sponsorships as well. This is pretty good considering it wasn't a professional match and he was not headlining the fight. Since then, he's gone on to make exponentially more money. In his second fight, Jake Paul took on another fellow YouTuber, Anason Gibb. This fight was his first professional bout and served as his way to show everyone that he was serious about fighting. Paul defeated Gibb in a knockout, proving his skills as a fighter, and took home quite the hefty paycheck. It's estimated that his reward was somewhere in the range of $1 million. And while this is a lot of money to make in one night, Paul somehow topped that amount in his second professional boxing match with the former New York Knicks basketball player Nate Robinson. Stay tuned to find out how much money Jake Paul earned for his fight against Robinson. You won't believe it. How much money did Jake Paul earn for his fight against Nate Robinson? Jake Paul continued to make a name for himself in the boxing world when he was challenged by Nate Robinson to take to the ring. The fight was Robinson's first professional fight and Paul's second. Robinson had only started training a few months prior, but despite being a professional athlete at one point, Paul overtook him easily, knocking him out in the second round. Paul's dedication to training truly showed through in this moment, but he was willing to acknowledge that Robinson was better than he expected. This was Paul's biggest fight at that point, and the paycheck certainly proved it. It was revealed that Paul took home a staggering $10 million for the fight, much more than his previous rounds. After his victorious third match, it was announced that he would be taking on an MMA professional next. Paul went on to fight former MMA welterweight champion Ben Askren, and it seemed the fight was heating up between both parties, who did a massive round of trash talking before the fight took place. But it didn't take long for Paul to assert his boxing prowess. Once he hooked Askren about 2 minutes into the first round, his opponent was deemed unable to continue. This short fight proved very lucrative for Paul, who is said to have received around $700,000 just for showing up. All in all, he ended up taking home close to $8 million for the fight, a massive payout for such a short bout. Up next, how much did Jake Paul make in his latest fight with Tyron Woodley? How much did Jake Paul make in his latest fight with Tyron Woodley? In Jake Paul's latest fight with Tyron Woodley, Paul suffered his first real boxing injury, but despite getting hurt, he was able to hold his ground and made it through the final round before the judges crowned him the winner over Woodley. Although Woodley started with the upper hand, he ultimately admitted that a previous shoulder injury prevented him from knocking out Paul. A rematch between the two is coming up, and many are interested to see if Woodley will stop Paul's undefeated streak. They are no doubt set to make a large sum from their second fight, after each fighter took home around $2 million from their first match, and it's estimated that Paul actually made somewhere near $8 million from the fight after endorsements and sponsors. In total, from his short boxing career, Paul has made upwards of $25 million, and though he's already made an astronomical amount of money in the past 2 years, it doesn't look like he has any intention of stopping soon. With his next fight being a rematch, there are still plenty of boxers on Paul's hit list, including Conor McGregor and Tommy Fury. Only time will tell where his boxing career will go next, but how much money does Jake Paul think he can earn over his entire career? We'll cover this next. How much money does Jake Paul think he can earn over his entire career? Jake Paul has obviously made an incredible amount of money in his short fighting career, but during his press conference this week for his upcoming rematch with Tyron Woodley, Paul stated how much he thinks he can earn over his entire boxing career, and that number is a whopping $250 million. While he's off to a good start, he would have to continually win more high-profile fights and reach success that hasn't been accomplished since boxing legend Muhammad Ali. Paul seems to have an impressive amount of faith in himself, even if he does have a lot of people who doubt him, stating in a press conference, "All I gotta do is keep winning." He then went on to say he could take over the world and become the next Muhammad Ali. Paul even invested in a custom-made $500,000 belt that says Most Valuable Boxer to prove just how serious he is about his career. But while it's great he has so much confidence in himself, he just released some news that could hamper his big career goals. Stay tuned to find out what concerning news has Jake Paul fans questioning how much longer his boxing career will last. You'll want to hear this inside scoop. So what concerning news has Jake Paul fans questioning how much longer his boxing career will last? Just days before his rematch with Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul made an announcement regarding his health. Although Paul has only been boxing for 2 years, he released news this week that he is suffering from the effects of CTE. He stated that he noticed his memories begun to get worse and he is slurring his speech. Paul admitted he was suffering from CTE prior to starting his boxing career because of several concussions he sustained while playing football growing up, but it has worsened recently. Paul went on to say that after doing some brain scans, his doctor confirmed that the issue is progressed and has advised him not to continue with the sport. With the concerning news about his health, Paul has admitted that he's been experimenting with psychedelic drugs to help increase brain function and help combat the effects of CTE on his brain. He noted that while experimenting with this sort of treatment, it has definitely helped. Even with such somber news, Paul did not mention that he would be retiring from his boxing career anytime soon. He did allude to the fact that as he has been getting better at boxing, he might not sustain as many injuries as before since he's been rising through the ranks to get better and has more ability to dodge the blows of his opponents. Regardless of the health concerns, there are a massive amount of fans that are expected to tune into his rematch with Woodley. Up next, who does Jake Paul have his sights on to fight next? So who does Jake Paul have his sights set on to fight next? Despite some news regarding his declining brain health, Jake Paul continues to make plans to box more opponents, and it looks like he has his sights set on fighting top boxer Canelo Alvarez at some point. Even though it would appear that Paul is far too inexperienced to fight someone like Alvarez, he said, "It's not about how long you've been doing something, it's about how right you've been doing it." And Alvarez isn't the only one Paul plans on taking to the ring. He's also admitted that at some point he'd like to take on his older brother Logan Paul as well. While he stated he doesn't know if that fight will happen, it's been talked about a lot and it's on the cards. There's quite a bit of speculation as to who will jump in the ring with Paul after his rematch with Tyron Woodley, but Paul dashed any hope of that person being Tommy Fury. Since Fury pulled out of their upcoming fight, Paul stated he had his chance and he wouldn't be getting that again. Either way, we can't wait to see who's next. And there you have it, how much Jake Paul has actually earned from his boxing career, plus other boxing news. Let us know in the comments what you think of Jake Paul's boxing career. Tune in next time for more celebrity and sports news, and thanks for watching.
I don't need new friends, I don't like fake friends. Only here to make ends, call when to check in. I don't like partial, need the whole back end. Fresh out of
make this song go to #1 and I'll go bold. I'm pretty sure this time you're gonna make me go bold.
She still got an axe to the crib like a palace. I took her to Bastards. If he wanna feature, then we gotta tax him. I got me a bad bitch to cover. It's everyday, bro, with the Disney Channel flow. 5 mil on YouTube in 6 months, never done before. Past all the max in the comments and shook up, they throwing a tantrum. Yeah, the wrist is flooded, no competition, can't listen. The competition, man, PewDiePie is next. Man, I'm popping all these checks, got the brand new Rolex. And then they talking about shit, I'm lit, they know it. They wanna hate on the music, but I'm making hits, these hundreds I throw them at the Lambo too, and they're coming with the crew. This is Team 10, bitch, who the hell I'm flipping you? And you know I kick. I need like 80 and short, that's some minimum shit. I leave the house, then I'm wearing some shit you can't get, and I swear this shit costs like up Am's.
To Paul. He's put a lot of pressure on from the first crouching. Take control of the fight early. Yes, you got to get the first move. You have to bleed. Unique, the style is from Gibb.
It was all week, I'm a vet, quick trip for the bag, fell asleep on a jet. On a different time, this autumn I forget. See 8 bad bitches like the I kick that